when you are banned on the paper, you are in a better situation than those who are not on the paper, because they are also abolished.
Georgian Dream is putting lots of effort to make its future very dangerous. Because now the only way to change them is to overthrow.
You can't operate on the ground as a party, so you go underground. That's the thing. But if you go underground alone, that's also the wrong decision.
Mao announced a political discussion. He said, everybody who have a different idea, who has arguments about different paths to socialism, come out. It's not a problem. Let's discuss it. So some people decided that was a good idea to discuss. Of course, he purged all of them after that.
Hello and welcome to Talk Georgia Question Time. With me, Giorgi Rukhadze.
And with me, Nodar Kharshiladze.
This is a special edition of Talk Georgia where Nodar and I answer your pressing questions about Georgian and international politics.
And it's brought to you by Droeba Media Group, trusted source of information and analysis.
And GISAC, a think tank providing comprehensive political analysis of Georgia and wider Black Sea region, also academic and practical training for postgraduate students and mid-career professionals.
So let's go to questions.
Let's go.
We
Question.
have a unified question from two persons, from Serhii and Monika. Yes?
That's right. And the question goes like this. If the Georgian Dream bans the three largest opposition parties, which together represent over 40% of the population, and threatens smaller parties, what does the future hold for political parties in Georgia? How should the existing opposition respond? And could this create space for new Georgian Dream satellite parties to emerge? Right. Okay,
Lots
good
of
question. Spot on, because this is the top story of this week, obviously. Yeah. And before we start answering this question, I'll give a little bit of a background. Because the Marco wrote us from Rome. He said that, he's new to Georgian politics. And when we are talking about the names and everything, he doesn't really understand everything. So I think, some of our viewers and audience, they are expert in Georgian politics, but some are new. So I think we have to give them a little bit of a kind of explanation what is what. And just the background story is that a few days ago, Georgian Dream appealed to the Constitutional Court of Georgia to ban three, the biggest opposition groups, which is the United National Movement, Ahali Party, and Lelo Party. And, initially they were talking about 10 parties, but it turned out that on the list there are only 3 parties. So far. But Shalva Papuashvili, who is the chair of one-party parliament, now already a two-party parliament, disputed parliament, at a press briefing he said that, these 3 parties are going to be banned because they are posing a threat to Georgian state. But it means that they are posing a threat to the Georgian Dream. There are some other small parties as well that deserve to be banned, and they fall in the same category, but they are too small and too unimportant. But once they become bigger, or when they become bigger, they will be banned as well. Mm-hmm. Also, Parliament adopted a new law that allows Constitutional Court to ban not only parties, but also individuals. Again, talking about at that press briefing, Papuashvili said that when the party is banned, and for example, if these 3 parties are banned, their members individually will be effectively banned as well, because if they join the other party or start a new party or kind of do any kind of political activity, then those parties would be considered as the successors of the already banned party. But this law that they introduced is designed for you and me, Nodar. For example, we are not members of any party, but if we tomorrow decide to start a party, I will be banned because I am ideologically aligned with the UNM or something like that, and you because you were holding serious positions during President Saakashvili's administration. Okay, so this is the whole story that is unfolding now. To go a little bit further, the idea of banning UNM has been circulating in the air since the beginning of the Georgian Dream's rule, I would say. But that time, destroying UNM and cohabitation, between these two things, the cohabitation won. Because that obviously was a red line that time for our Western partners. That was a lot more important those times for the Georgian Dream than it is now. And also the Georgian Dream was constructed that time by some democratic forces as well, who also kind of thought that it was important. This idea of banning the parties or the UNM was resurfacing from now and then in the run-up of the elections over the years. But, I mean, this is the first time when it came to business. And now I think obviously this is the crossing the red line. And we will witness actually banning these parties in the coming months, I believe. So, Nodar, do you want to start answering the question?
No, I don't, but I have to. So, first of all, not if, but when the Georgian Dream bans the theory.
Absolutely.
As you said, I mean, George, you already made a good presentation of the problem. This issue was floating around for a long time. And cohabitation, they think that it was a mistake. It's admitted by Supreme Leader that he fell into that trap. And then I think UNM proved to them to be useful for some time because they were using it as a major threat. Now they don't need it anymore.
Bogeyman.
Now they have a bigger threat to fight, Global War Party, the deep state. I mean, you know that several days ago there was an interview with Liz Truss, and she mentioned that one of the biggest problems of UK is to defeat the deep state.
Oh yeah, it was several months ago, but still, yeah. But, but he meant different deep state, by the way.
She meant different, but yeah. So there are bigger enemies. Plus, internal enemies like Bacheshvili, Gakharia are now more important. So they decided that they don't need UNM anymore. It won't work as a major banner. Misha is already in the prison, so there is no need for UNM. So they banned together. I mean, I was surprised they didn't ban the Gakharia, but I think there was some agreement achieved with some people who entered to parliament. So they are entering to parliament and they are not being banned at the same time. So Lelo, despite their participation into election, was banned anyway. Now, here is the issue about the personal things. I'm not saying that it is not doable. It's doable. It's harder. To ban a legal entity is very easy. To personally restrict you, me, or anybody else from participation from politics, that's a constitutional right. You need personal case to constitutional. So it would be way more legally challenging and demanding, and they would then, of course, appeal and counter-appeal, things like that. So it's not that easy. What you said, that very well shapes and shows the idea of what they want to do. Again, organizational parties will be done very soon, but personal part, for example, to ban Tina Bokuchava from going to another party, or to ban them, that would require additional constitutional things to follow.
But not really, because I mean, again, Tina Bokuchava is member of UNM. If Tina joins the other party, that means that the Constitutional Court can decide that party is also successor party of the UNM.
It's a very arguable case because these three now banned based on the Commission's workings. then you need to create a new commission about this new party. Don't forget that.
No need for that, because this law that they adopted, it gives a simplified, basically, opportunity for the
very easy
Constitutional
to
Court to do it within a month, by the way.
Yeah,
so in a limited time.
They need they'll need case by case. It will be interesting if all of them start joining to different parties and they will start banning all of them. So, which parties are not banned now? Which are still there? And which is strange. I was surprised that Giorgi Rukhadze's party is not banned, because both of his party leaders are in prison for the moment. I mean, one is sentenced already, will be out soon. Second is under investigation for alleged plot to overthrow the government, Pata. His party is not banned so far, but I think it's one of the candidates if they succeed. Now, Gaharia obviously was not banned. Iagos Girchi was not banned, but that was predictable, that they are more like structural opposition, at least considered to that. And that's it. I mean, from the parties who ever been to parliament in last two parliaments or being actively engaged in politics, I think that's Rukhadze, Lelo was important. European Georgia, but European Georgia doesn't exist anymore. It exists actually. Now, what members it does, yes. European Georgia. Federalists were not banned because they are a very new party, but Bulgaria could be then individually restricted. So, this is very interesting. Now, what it does, first of all, it gives Georgian Dream, you're right, perfectly clear tool to just, privatize politics fully. Second, it forces everybody else to the street.
Everybody else what?
To the street.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. If I can't go... now, it's not about choice, you're going to go to election. You can't. So, street is not optional anymore. So, it become a major... So, I'm not sure it's very healthy and it's very safe for Georgian Dream to do that. They might feel quite confident for the moment, and that could be a justifiable emotion, but you never know. Street can create different problems. You can be strong today, but tomorrow you may not be that strong. So I don't think that was very clever move, but they did it anyway. So street it is then for most of the opposition. And satellite parties. Now, yes, of course it will happen, but these satellites will feed on the Georgian Dream supporters' fault, because everybody would know that they're satellites, unless they are very well crafted and very, let's say, well shrouded in legend. That is, Georgian Dream doesn't operate anymore like that. They are very rough, tough, and let's say very primitive in such things. So that won't be a very nice show with smoke and mirrors and presenting somebody like opposition, which they are not. No. So they will just create some parties like Power of People and things like that, who everybody knows that these are the Georgian Dream. So I don't think that anybody outside the Georgian Dream supporters. Well, plus, if they wanted system opposition, they had a perfect candidate for that, Mr. Garibashvili, before they politically destroyed him. Started political. So they still might use him, but it won't work. It will be harder now to justify him being a systemic opposition. So that option is also out. So whatever they're going to create, it will be another so-called European, not so-called, but they were called European socialists, I believe, or Power to People. So it will be so obviously Georgian Dream that, I mean, you remember one time Power of People exited from Georgian Dream and created party, and then they said, no, we are now dismantling and going back to Georgian Dream. This is how it's gonna go. So I think that this will be very much at most time Chinese Communist Party had opposition, and then they suddenly, Mao. That's famous. I mean, short anecdote. Mao announced the political discussion. He said, everybody who have a different idea. I mean, who has arguments about different paths to socialism, come out. It's not a problem. Let's discuss it. So some people decided that was a good idea to discuss. Of course, he purged all of them after that. But there was this
like region-based socialist, not opposition parties, but different parties at that time, announced, and then they all were purged after that. So that will not happen in Georgian Dream. I don't think that they will even have some courage to have a different Georgian Dream idea. So
Okay, I can give you here ideas. So, one of the questions that came that also kind of just attached the video to that. Yeah, and the few days ago there was an interview by Mr. Kakulia, who is a former member of parliament from the Georgian Dream, who said that, well, there is a need for new parties because now Georgian Dream has a lot of political weight on their shoulders, and with that weight they will not be able to kind of improve relations with our Western partners. So there needs to be a kind of new faces. Right. So how does that fit into your?
First of all, I saw this interview, and there was tears in my eyes. The weight, I imagine. I don't think that it's gonna work. I don't think that anybody.
Or
in the
maybe
West
he will be purged as well as Mao purged some of the others who had ideas. I mean, this was his idea.
Yes. Internally, they might try to sell, and it can be marginally successful, some different idea, because internally people are more gullible, especially when you have 24/7 this Imedi TV and this what is other channels, I don't even remember this.
Rustavitu or Post TV.
Post TV, yeah, thank you. But internationally, nobody gonna buy it. Everybody now understands very well what's happening. So, if you want to have a relationship with West on Georgian Dream behalf, you need to totally. It's a very long process. It will not work. Any opposition party who wants to have a normal relationship with West should be a genuine opposition, which will not be liked by Georgian Dream, because genuine opposition will not have anything good to say about Georgian. I mean, that's the biggest problem. You are, as opposition, are criticizing us. Of course we are. I mean, that's why opposition. I mean, and that is a normal process. I mean, so I don't think that there is a solution with that. I thought the Georgian Dream did not care. It looks like they do now, to some extent. However, on the one hand, there are these talks and attempts to do that, and on the other hand, you suddenly get Rukhadze out on national TV, and he speaks like Goebbels. I don't know. I mean, saying that entire West is rotten and they want to overthrow us. So I don't know, if you guys want to have a good, at least normal working relationship, why would you do that? I mean, it kind of, and internally you don't need it anymore. People who believe you, and people who don't will not. So I don't know what's the logic of it. I think it's some kind of self-validation when he comes in. I mean, recently, several days ago, he spoke that how West since 2016 tried to undermine every elections in Georgia. So I don't think that will happen. So yes, satellite parties, we should wait for them, but they will not change the general picture. They will feed on the same electorate. Now, what's gonna happen with opposition? Again, if they're gonna use this law to any party who gets strong and suddenly they are restricting it again, now Street has a chance finally. I mean, and it's ironically Georgian Dream who is empowering Street, because it's sending all the people whom like Lelo wanted to be a structural politics to the street. I mean, now what Kharshiladze should do now?
I don't know. Well, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, when my turn comes, so just
Yeah, so he has to now provide support for different things, and personally, he can only go and speak now on the street. I mean, be a part of the street process. So that's how it goes. And lastly, I don't think that there is any response from opposition parties for that. How they should respond? I mean, Gakharia looks very ugly now in his part. Now, not only he's going to the parliament, he's going to parliament at the same time when his fellow opposition parties being restricted, especially Lelo, which they talked lots about partnership, and they even unified some kind of they didn't unify, but they coordinated this disastrous elections. So I think that I don't see any bright future for Gaharias party, to be honest. Neither.
Well, there is no Gaharias party any longer, if you ask
I
me.
think Georgian Dream, here's the problem for them. The major problem with Georgian Dream was that everybody thought that they were traitors. Now they have absurdly similar problems with the rest of the opposition. Now everybody in opposition thinks that they are traitors as well. So, I think that was not very clever in the end of the day. I mean, pragmatically, it was not very clever. So, what the rest parts of the do? I think when you have this, let's say you have Rukhadze, okay, who is our friend and he will be out soon, and I wish you all the best. I mean, in Rukhadze's shoes, I will not invest any serious money or any serious resources into the party development now. Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't.
Well, tomorrow I'll invest this money to develop like underground infrastructure.
Absolutely.
I mean, so that's where Georgian Dream pushes us. And in the end, I would like to finish it with thank you to Marco of Interest from Rome. But Marco, please take different hobby: cooking, gardening, some Spanish politics, French politics. Georgian politics are bad for your health. I mean, look at us. This is not working well. So I think that, yes, very, very last thing. And we're going to speak about it in the future program, so it will be kind of announcement. Last program, both of us, we announced a sequel to Arrest, and it's going on. I'm very happy to see that this was one more promise which hold, and they already arrested Deputy Minister of Infrastructure, former head of the Municipal Development Foundation, which is linked to Mayor's office actually. And now I think until we're gonna record next program, there will be few more arrests. So stay tuned. The next program, I think, we'll have more on that part.
Okay, let me do a bit of analysis of the question here and answer some of that. What I can say about what needs to be done, or before I say something what needs to be done, I will say that I think that clearly Georgian Dream now, well, when they ban these parties, it may take few months. So they will cross the red line, and Georgia will become, this will be the final touch of Georgia becoming or transferring from electoral democracy into electoral dictatorship or electoral autocracy.
Or maybe to hybrid democracy to authoritarian system.
Yeah, electoral democracy means hybrid democracy. Because this electoral democracy, for example, Turkey is an electoral democracy, or was until, but still is. Still is. But again, well, difference is that when the elections is used for by the public to change who is in power, that is electoral democracy.
Yeah, but not in Georgia.
Right. But now, from now on, elections, whatever they are going to be or whenever they are going to be, it is going to be to reinforce the power that is in government. Okay, so it is effectively making Georgia another Belarus or Azerbaijan or whatever, Russia. That's one thing, so what we need to bear in mind. Second thing is that instead of concentrating on what is happening, I think we need to think why it is happening. So, and I think that there are two angles there, like the short term and the long term. In short run, I believe that Georgian Dream needs another election to get constitutional majority. If you leave everything like it is now, and the parties as they are, no matter how weak they are, still, if they hold elections tomorrow, it will be challenge to get constitutional majority if the parties unite on the other side. So to get it done, I think what Georgian Dream is trying to do, to effectively ban those parties and then conduct elections to get constitutional majority, change, take this the Article 78 out of Constitution, as Russians are demanding, I believe, and then in the longer run already to repopulate the political landscape by the parties that are not necessarily friendly to them, but that pose no threat in the foreseeable future to the Georgian Dream. So this is the aim, I think, that why they are doing it. As for the response from the opposition, I don't think there is either right or wrong response, assuming that they parties individually do it. Exactly the same way, in the run-up of the 4th of October elections, there was no right or wrong decision whether to participate or boycott. Mm-hmm. The wrong was both providing that individually parties would make this decision. Mm-hmm. Okay? If there was joint boycott, that would be the right decision. If there was joint participation, that would have been the right decision. Exactly the same way. When Georgian Dream is abolishing parties, and let's bear in mind that when you are banned on the paper, you are in a better situation than those who are not on the paper, because they are also abolished.
Yeah, they are not recognized.
Yeah, they're not. They don't need to be on the paper to be abolished. When they are not on the paper, that is even worse.
Exactly.
Right. So again, legally they ban you or not, they are banning you as a political party. So even some of the, if somebody is happy that we are not on the paper, yeah, that's not the reason for joy, because it's the other way. It's the other way around. So whether you are banned or whether you are not, I think the only clever response is, again, as you said, that you take to the street, because this is the only thing that you can't operate on the ground as a party, so you go underground. That's the thing. But if you go underground alone, that's also the wrong decision. Whoever is concerned about this, and I think that every single party, minus Gaharia's party, which does not exist, that was effectively abolished when they entered the parliament, basically themselves did that. So all these parties have to unite their human, financial, and technical resources, together with the other groups and people who are basically demonstrating and resisting the regime, to form United Resistance Front or United Resistance, movement, and start resisting with all possible, peaceful means, until you take the country to a state when it is impossible to run. So this is the way out I see. This is the only way out that I see at the moment. Anything else, if you individually decide to, my party is going to do this, or the other party, or we don't agree on this, and everything will be wrong, because it wouldn't lead anywhere.
Well, I think that Georgian Dream is putting lots of effort to make its future very dangerous. Because now the only way to change them is to overthrow them.
Yes, exactly.
And that is very dangerous. For the moment, it is not possible by Georgian opposition. Mm-hmm. We have seen attempts. But that doesn't mean that it will stay impossible tomorrow as well. So, kind of they're digging their own graves, politically.
Absolutely.
Here. Instead of making political process, what I would do, I would flood political process with inclusiveness. Mm-hmm. So, you would make lots of people get there. I would lower a financial barrier to absolute minimum. And it would create lots of things. And you could divide that impera. You could divide and rule here. Mm. And then, when you see that it's time to go, you go through that process, through this multipolarity, through this and you also become, if you want to stay as an opposition active. Bidzina just said, he goes all or nothing now.
Yeah, he did.
And they are going all in or vabank for the last 3 years. For several times, they had luck, but it doesn't mean that it won't run out. And they will suffer a very heavy consequences, because they organize system which has no, this system has no tools or mechanism of transfer of power. It doesn't.
Yep.
Only thing is to overthrow them. So in a way, it no different than Putin's dictatorship. No different than any other classical dictator, because there is no, no. Look, in Azerbaijan or in Belarus, they semi-restricted parties. I mean, it's only Russia and Georgia now in this. So who, even in Russia, you can operate some parties.
Yeah.
Now it's in Georgia who officially restricts those parties. So in Azerbaijan, our colleagues might tell you that legally there is a mechanism to change the. In Georgia, it doesn't exist anymore. So I think that this is a very dangerous path to walk, but that's the path they're choosing to walk. I mean, it's not like
unfortunately,
they have lots of other options. They could empower. I mean, they could play lots of games with different things and be smart about it, but no. For last 2 years, and I think this was crucially a bad 2 years for Georgia, unfortunately, but especially for Georgia, every time they had decision to make decision between right and wrong, they make wrong decisions. Do they stay still in power? Yes, they do, but that doesn't mean that will last
forever.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nodar. I look forward to the next episode as you announced some of very interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching us. Thanks for listening to us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and Spotify channel, and I'll see you next week.